Okay, you may probably be able to pull it up towards the top of the screen. You'll notice there's a small white bubble that moves when I move the cursor. And that's because that's the control range for this particular extractor control unit. Now, again, you want to make this as close as possible to your grouping of buildings. Click to confirm, and then submit that you want to build that. The next step you're going to do is you're going to also place another planetary link between your extractor head unit and your launch pad. Before you click submit, you want to hover over and click the link. You see the gold dotted line right in here, and then immediately you're going to upgrade. I'm going to upgrade mine to level 3. Now you'll notice each time I upgrade, there's going to be more consumption of power grid. And then I'm going to upgrade it again. You may notice that it says upgrade level 1 local. You're going to upgrade it again. And you're going to do this total 3 times. Each time it'll change the upgrade level. And the reason why you want to do this is the amount of ore that you're actually going to be extracting will dictate just how much will transfer through the line. And if you have a high concentration, then you will have to have a large upgraded link to be able to carry the resources. So you'll notice now our power grid has gone up a little bit. We're not going to be too bad off. So we're going to go ahead and submit. Now, once we do that, I already know we're going to be setting up for base metals as well. So I'm going to go ahead and drop another Baron control unit. Right, and I'm going to similarly place it pretty symmetrically on the other side. Go ahead and submit, and then you're going to hit your planetary links, and you're going to create another link from your your control unit to your launch pad. You will never ever link anything to your command center other than your launch pad. Now again, the same thing applies here. You're going to go ahead and upgrade 3 times. Now you'll notice I've already gone ahead and done that. Now, the first step is you're going to set up your extraction setup for your noble metals, which you notice I still have open in the scan. It's going to disappear in a minute as soon as I click this survey button right here on the bar left. It's going to bring up a window, and you'll notice that my scan all of a sudden is gone. And that's because I haven't selected the type of material I'm surveying for. I know up here I'm going to go ahead and select noble metals, and you'll notice my scan is going to come back now. There we go. Now, over here, depending on how much command center upgrades you have, you can install up to 10. And you're going to click to start on 7, because 7 makes a perfect circle for your extraction area. And then once you complete that, even though you'll notice that they're all spread out, that's not going to be their final placement. This is just kind of getting everything set up. Your extraction area size, you'll notice that when I drag this to the right, the time changes and the graph will actually change. You ideally want this to happen every 2 days. Oops, 2 days. Right there. You'll notice that there's a scale, a sliding scale over here. You'll notice it may differentiate, but generally 2 days is a good cycle. It's the most efficient. Now once you have that set up, you may end up having to go back into the scan area and dragging your slider bar a little bit further to kind of accommodate all 7 of these extractor heads. And you're going to take one of these and you're going to place these as centrally located as possible in this location. Okay. Alright, as you can see, I have mine set up, and I'm pretty quickly placed them. So you'll notice up here, you'll see some red numbers underneath the actual white numbers. You do not want the red numbers. That means some of your extractor heads are overlapping each other. So this one seems to be dictating what's what. Now you can go in here and just kind of finagle it and get yours as close as possible. Alright, now that I've got mine pretty much well set up, you're going to notice that I have a small spike. Okay, and per hour I will be generating 65,701 noble metals per hour. And then at my lowest point, which is approximately right there, I'll still be generating 42,500. So we're good. Just keep in mind of those numbers at a later point. Once you have all of this set up the way you want it to be set up, install program, and now you're officially extracting resources. But it won't be able to do anything until you click submit. Now you'll notice there's a huge jump here. Now, because we installed 7 here, you may not have enough grid to run 7 on the base metals, but I'll show you that in a minute. So now that we're submitted, you'll notice now we're officially extracting noble metals, but we have to route the resources correctly to make the semi-finished products. So the way that you route resources is you'll select this. You'll notice the window pops up and all 7 of your extractor heads are here. So you'll go ahead and select products, and it'll have a drop-down menu of noble metals, and you'll notice it says not routed. You have to route this before it'll be able to be extracted. So what you're going to do is once you click create or click the commodity, it'll come up with this screen, and it will say destination, no destination selected. So we're already ready to select a destination. So we're going to go back over here and click on the start point. You'll notice that it changes the destination. Now you'll notice after I went ahead and routed the resource, you'll see a small dotted line moving from the extractor head control unit to the actual launch pad. And for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and route and start my base metals location as well. Now you'll notice that I have this placed on my highest concentration, but at this time I only have 5 heads. It's because my power grid is a little close to the capacity, but since I've already set up my factories, I can place 2 more to make it an even 7 on each resource. You'll notice that it now jumped up a little bit closer to my maximum. Actually, yeah, I just got told that I can only place 1. So we are going to be running at pretty much 100% of possible power output. So now your skills obviously will dictate how much you can use via command center upgrades. So we're able to get pretty decent numbers on this one. Now that I've actually had everything set up, I'm going to go ahead and submit this. But you also notice I didn't click submit program. So I'm still surveying. I'm going to go back into the survey screen, select base metals. That was a mistake on my part. Now I have to set everything back up for my extraction area size. Right there. Alright, per hour I'm not generating a lot because it's not the highest concentration, but it's still going to help. So I'm going to go ahead and install the program. You'll notice that it's slowly going down. And the reason why we set it for 2 days is because obviously it's the most efficient. So we're going to go ahead and install program and submit changes. Now the way you check your power grid output is we are at 99.58%. So there is absolutely nothing we can do left on this except for route. So we're going to go ahead and route, and you can go ahead and close your scan screen. It should take a minute. I'm going to go ahead and slide this all the way up so I don't have to see all of this. It's kind of annoying. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with this one as we did with this one. You'll notice that line is still there. So now I'm going to go back into this screen, select products, not metal. You're going to go ahead, or not routed, you're going to go ahead and select and then create route, and then you're just going to click on the launch pad and then click create route. You'll notice your screen keeps popping up, but there's no changes to the power grid or the CPU because we already upgraded the links for these locations. All of them actually. Every link here that needs to be upgraded has been upgraded already. So once we complete that, we already have our stuff submitted. What we're going to do is we're going to be making 2 different semi-finished products on this planet to keep the efficiency rating up. So now we're going to select our spaceport, and you're going to notice there's a bunch of new buttons here. What you're going to click is on routes. It's going to come up with a screen that shows what's incoming and what's outgoing eventually. But since we're going to be making noble metals and base metals, combine them into, we'll find out in a minute, but we're going to go ahead and route those. Now you'll notice that I have selected something and it doesn't look like what it was before. What I have done is I've actually gone into the Barron Basic Industry Facility and I've selected a schematic using this button right here. And now I know I'm going to need precious metals, reactive metals, chiral structures, and I believe one other one. see, there's chiral structures, precious metals, toxic metals. Okay, I can't make the other one on this planet, obviously, but so I know we are going to need precious metals, so I'm going to select. Now you'll notice that you'll have this install right here. I'm going to go ahead and click install, and now you have this new screen. You're going to select precious metals from the products menu. You're going to click on create route, and then you're going to click on your launch pad again. Then you're going to create route. Okay, now you'll notice if I click off to a different one right here, coming off the right side, this one over here, you'll notice that everything's starting to look like it's all going towards the launch pad, which is what you want. Okay, so now that we have that, you'll notice that you're waiting on input. It says waiting for resources right here. So now we have to route what we are pulling from this extractor head unit to this factory. So we're going to go ahead and click on routes. You'll notice this drop-down menu suddenly changed. Now we have 20 precious metals coming in, but we need noble metals to go to the factory, so we're going to click on noble metals, and you're going to notice, you see here is your load, and that's why we upgraded the routes. We're going to go ahead and create a route, and if I didn't do it correctly, if I didn't upgrade far enough, it's going to tell me that there's too much congestion once I click this button. So I selected the factory that's going to be making precious metals, which requires noble metals. So once I click create route, okay, it went through just fine. I'm going to go ahead and submit. Now you'll notice you have lines going towards the factory and lines coming away from the factory. And that means that there's things going to the factory and things taking away from the factory. And there's a white ring blinking. That means there's nothing going on right now because this is still doing its first cycle. So you'll notice it's still waiting for resources. Your cycle time is 30 minutes and you're waiting on noble metals. Now you can go back over here to your factory. You'll notice routes. This is how you make sure you do it. You are taking in resources, you're sending out resources, and then you're receiving a semi-finished product. And that's what you're going to do for each of the basic factories you're set it up. A maximum of 2 or 3 if you have enough power grid or you have enough pegged out skills. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one similarly so that it saves some room on my hard drive. And I am going to go ahead and do this quickly, and I'll show you without explaining it so you can see generally how fast this can go when you know what you're doing. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and select the schematic for the second one. This is the one that's extracting base metals from this location over here. Now, we're going to have, you'll see it's doing nothing. We have to select a schematic here first before we route any resources. Now we're going to need to use reactive metals, which I believe uses base metals, which we're extracting. So once we do that, we're going to go ahead and install that schematic. Okay, before we go anywhere, we're going to go ahead and route whatever it's making back to the starport. Now you'll notice that the way you know you have it set up right is you'll click on your launch pad, you'll go to routes, and you're going to have 20 reactive metals and 20 precious metals incoming. You're going to have 2 sets of outgoing minerals in the amount of 3,000, and then you're going to have a large amount incoming from your extractor head units. Now this planet is done, and I'm going to go ahead and upload this and post it, share it with you guys. So thanks for looking at the video, and I hope this helps you a lot. If I did confuse you or move you too fast, feel free to pause it and look over or repeat what I said.